It's a new day, and today's lesson should be super fun. For some of you, this will be the second or third time you are doing a form-related lesson. But for some of you, this will be the first time. The idea is that today you have a space where you can really move around and be free, be silly, and you get to be very creative too. Let's apply what we know so we can discover the form of this new piece of music.
All right, some of us have done this a few times, but for some of us it's new. So let's just quickly review. It's always really good to review anyway, so let's go through what we have learned about form. Form is the structure of a song or a piece of music. In most cases, music is divided into sections. We can tell the difference between each section because the music sounds different. It could be in how many instruments or what instruments are used. It could be in the type of voices that are used. It could also be related to tempo, the speed of music, or dynamics, how loud music is. It could also be related to what we call articulations. And we'll talk about those in a second. But we know that a new section has started because the music sounds different. We know that we also use letters to name the different sections. I have also used shapes. Shapes and letters combined make everything really great. Let's try to figure out the form of the song just by listening to it. Today, you will hear that the different sections have different articulations. Articulations tell us how music should be performed, specifically how some notes should be performed. One big difference that you will hear today is between short and detached sounds and smooth and connected sounds. So I want you to listen for the difference between short and detached, staccato, and smooth and connected, which we call legato. This song has 4 sections. This is the first time anything we have listened to has 4 sections. And there's always a very short introduction at the beginning. We will not count that as a section. We just know that it's the introduction. Introduction. First section. What did you hear? Was it staccato, short and detached, or was it legato, smooth and connected? It's staccato, short and detached. And we're gonna call that section A, triangle. Let's listen to the next section, and I want you to tell me whether you think it is legato or staccato. This is it. It sounds quite different, doesn't it? This one is smooth and connected. So we know that section A and section B are different because of the articulation. Let's listen to the next section. And here it goes. This third section we're going to call C. I think the main difference with this one could be articulation, but it's also dynamics, because it gets louder and louder and louder and louder every time. Finally, we have the end of the piece, and the end of the piece, we're going to call it its own separate section, section D. Listen to it. Here it goes. And back to the introduction one more time. So this is what we have. A, B, C, D. 4 sections. Now we're going to attach movement to it. For today, you will definitely need a space where you can move without hurting anyone, because we're going to get really silly. Please be careful. Movement number 1. March happily. Our actions today are going to be related to what we hear. So we're not just adding any movement. We are adding movement that goes well with the music of the section. That's why we chose March Happily for section A, because it's short and detached. Now, for section B, we're going to sway our arms in a figure 8 or infinity sign way of motion. Like this. And that will show that the music is smooth and connected. Legato. Here we go. Section B. We already heard section C and it goes a little bit crazy. So we're gonna call this movement Spin Like Crazy. But to make it more fun, you're also gonna punch the air. Just please be very careful not to hurt yourself and others. This piece is super dramatic. It belongs to a bigger piece of music called Carmina Burana. Maybe you've heard it before. The beginning sounds like this. So yes, very dramatic. And of course, this movement that we are listening to from this big piece has to have a dramatic ending. So we're gonna do a dramatic fall for the end. And go on your knees. And then get ready to start all over again. So now I'm just gonna play the full movement and I want you to move depending on what section you hear. So you're either going to march happily, sway your arms, spin like crazy and punch the air, or do a dramatic fall with jazz hands. I want you to tell me how many times we cycle through the form of this piece. So you will hear A, B, C, D many times. I want to know how many times you hear it. Let's go. Marching happily. Sway your arms. Section C is coming. And we start again. Oh, I'm exhausted. want you to tell me in your response to this activity how many times you heard the form all the way through during this piece of music. What you can do next as well, if you have time and you would like to do this, you can add your own movement as usual. You can add your own movement to this song for each section, A, B, C, D. The only different thing that I'm going to ask you this time is that you make your movement choice match what you hear in the music. So if it is smooth and connected, make sure that you use movement that is very flowy. If it is short and attached, make sure that your movement shows that as well. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson today, and I will see you next week with more music.